community, things that people don't always realise is traditional or are a tradition. Naming ceremonies, where we get our names from, the difference between Ashkenazi and Sephardi names, the difference between biblical names and Ashkenazi names, names in Yiddish, names in Hebrew, the strengths of these things and the different purposes that those names actually serve. And even today, when somebody is ill, we still find in the community people go to synagogue to change a name, hoping by so doing to change the personality of the person, to perhaps deflect the decision in folk terms of the Malcham Ovis coming to collect a soul and giving that person extra life. It has fringes of Kabbalistic lore attached to it, numerology. It has elements of the divine, in the hope that the angel of death, having been sent out to cull a soul, will be turned aside by the change of the name, and it will add strength to that person and perhaps give them added years beyond what has actually come to be their term at this moment in time. And this is all where superstition is concerned, what we try to do to bring down the divine into terms that are human, trying to understand for ourselves the fact that the Malach Movis comes out every morning with a list of souls to be culled and names, and the fact that the only way you can perhaps stop one of the judgments on his list is to go to the synagogue and change somebody's name, so that he has to, if he has a question, go back to the world to come and ask God face to face. This particular person is not so named, or I think I found this person, but it isn't that name anymore. Therefore, God, the Almighty, has to make the decision as to whether or not that new name gives them sufficient strength, the person, that they are going to live beyond the stated original date that their name actually was given for their death on the day that they were pushed into the world. Somewhere along the line they decided, from experience probably, that between 4 o'clock in the morning and 20 past 4 in the morning, Death, the Malcham Ovis, makes no calls at all. He collects up to 4 o'clock. At 4 o'clock he goes home and he's given 20 minutes rest. At 20 past 4 he's given the new list and he has to go out. The image of the Malcham Ovis is European magic. Supposedly he is wrapped in his own darkness. He's a cowled figure, wrapped in his own darkness, who holds a torch and a sword. Now, both hands are full in his own darkness, and you wonder how he's supposed to actually go and find these people if he's wrapped in his own darkness and has a cowl on. Our image of the Malcham Ovis is not the Western skull and crossbones, grinning skull. It's a person who does this. But the interesting element of it is why he does it. None of the angels, so we're told, wanted to do this. None of them wanted the job of having to cull humanity. So God had to design somebody who would take the responsibility. And what he did was design somebody who had an affliction. He put into this soul an affliction, which is that the bottom of the left heel, there is a problem in the area of the ankle or the heel. And the only way that he can be comfortable is to constantly keep moving around. There is some type of glitch in the bonework, and the only way he can be happy or his pain can ease is that he moves around. That 20 minutes that he's given from 4 till 20 past is in fact the time of a breather. For some reason during that time he can put that leg up and he will get a degree of peace out of that. But it's because of that glitch that he gets some type of enjoyment perhaps out of the job that he does, because it helps him explain to himself why he's doing the job, because he's in so much pain he's inflicting upon mankind, and ease for himself by culling souls. We have this wonderful, wonderful story that in fact we do not choose our children. It's the modern concept of designer children has never been part of Judaism. But what does happen is the little soul is actually given the option of choosing which parents. It's given a selection of people who the divine thinks may be the best parents for it, but it's left up to the soul to choose which parents it wants. Having chosen, it is then, at the moment of conception, placed in the body of the mother, and in that position is taught everything about the world to come, its whole map of life. This is, if you like, the preordination mapping. But the thing is that the child is taken through life, everything that it will do, and is educated in everything it needs to know. At the last minute, so tradition says, it is the angel at its head who has been teaching it for the 9 months of its gestation, and says, right, it's your time to go, you may forget some things, and pushes the baby out. Now, tradition says that you have the mark above your lip and below your nose, because that's where the angel pushes you from, and you exit into the world with that. The trauma of birth is such a great pressure on the child coming through, with all the light and everything else that occurs once you hit this world, that it makes the child forget all that it has ever learnt in the world as to what its life would be. Sometimes, though, the child will go into a room or meet somebody, and having never met them before, think to themselves, I've met this person before. I know this person. Where do I know it from? But they know they've never met them before. And this we call today déjà vu. And this was recognised as, centuries ago, as that part of the psyche which remembers the pre-birth lectures that you were given to educate. And this is a memory from that time. This is what déjà vu is. A memory of what you were taught, what you were shown, and you are now in that position of conjuring in your mind what you were learning before, but the trauma is too much, and it only remains the fragment, a nagging fragment, because you know all this, but you're trying to work out where you know it from.